I'm gonna call this work session to order. Mr. Thacker and Mr. Thomason are here, and we are talking about the work session is over. The board expansion is our key topic, and we have some board seats to fill, and if we've got some questions or kind of what our plans are to help fill those seats. Mr. Thacker, do you want to start with anything? I know that we had worked really hard. Am I not on?
Yeah,
Am I on now? Sorry. I know we worked really hard on the piece for to get out to the community and to the schools on how to get involved and what the step-by-step was to run for office, and the zonings that we've changed. We've put out in the newspaper to show where the zones have changed, where we're going from 3 board members to 5 board members, and we've got some open seats coming up with the next election.
Yeah, basically, just kind of the piece that we had was something we're going to be able to give to our parents, community members, and it's basically not just for tonight. We kind of transformed that to where we can actually take that out, join the board, make a difference. Just kind of gives you the step-by-step, the flow, how the zones are going to be set, the terms of those zones until we get everything back in order for those 4-year terms, and just has all the information how to get involved. So highly recommend. I know that we'll be taking this like Rotary clubs, to Kiwanis, to chamber events, and also maybe some of our churches. If you know some individuals, please pass this along, and we'll actually get out there. And if anybody has any questions or anything, I guess, on this piece, let us know. It's very clear. Thank you very much for your all staff and everybody for helping get this together. It's a great resource, and I think it's very clear, and it's a good direction to kind of get started.
So we'll have 4 board seats that will be available, that will be open. So the biggest thing is the zones, how the zones have changed. They were all at large, and now we have zoned our positions. So that's the map down there is really helpful to know where you live and where you can run. But I know we've all put our information out there, so if anybody has questions, or there's, if we can answer any questions about how to do this and what the next step is. I will say I had to have people walk me through it too, but serving our community is that important to me to be able to do so. And the pickup date for petitions is next month, so it's coming. It'll be here before we know it, and then the election will be here before we know it. So we are just making sure everybody knows what's going on and knows how to serve if they want to step up and serve. And Mr. Thomason, do you have anything to add? Have I missed anything?
I can't think of anything.
Does anybody have any questions or anybody out there? I guess we can just kind of talk like this, like.
Questions, or if you want to check out the map. Mary Lee brought a fancy magnifying glass for those of you that may it's quite illuminating. Be careful when you cut it on. But the map, as Ms. Sadler-Gallagher mentioned, 5 zones, and it's organized by those. It closely aligns with the city council zones, which, thanks to the city, Mr. Thacker, I think, helped set that up as well to get those zones even and dialed in. They did a great job with that.
And the Election Commission has worked on sending out the information about what zones everybody lives in. So that's already been sent out and done, because that'll change when people have their cards of who they're voting for according to what zone they live in. So
that has not gone just yet.
Okay, that's not gone just yet, but it's heading
that way. Their goal is prior to Thanksgiving. They had to geocode some areas, and they just ran into a little more time. But what I got today was, because I asked before we got here, I just didn't get to talk to you. But right before Thanksgiving is their goal.
Okay, all right. So by the end of the month, so before petitions have to be fulfilled. So this has been a process for sure. So something I've learned a whole lot along the way. So, I think we're ready to rock and roll. The other big change that the public needs to be aware of is that there are now term limits to our seats, and we've put those in place as well. So not just the zones, but the term limits. So I think those are the big things that were changed and added for this year. So
Anybody wish it would snow?
No, no,
What?
no.
It's cold out there. It is cold.
Not what your brother got.
Yeah.
I know. Does anybody have any questions out in the audience? Anybody, parents, anybody, or anybody or just us?
You said there's 4 seats upper,
That'd be fun.
so is there one zone that is not going to be
Zone
Yes.
5.
Zone 5. Yeah.
And that's just how the elections have fallen. It's how the elections have fallen. with,
Yeah, Miss Heather occupies Zone 5, and she still has time on her term, and so the next election cycle, it would be those 1, 3, and 5.
So zones 1 and 3, the first years will only have 2-year terms, and then after that, they'll go on the 4-year cycle.
Good question.
That was a good question.
What zone is it on?
Well, you're at large right now.
Yeah, I know, but what?
Oh, well, depends on, there's a big map of the magnifying down there, but
What zone is it on? I mean, I can't see
I
this.
think you're in 2.
Two.
Yes, sir. You would have been, I think it's where you've been in 2. Yeah.
1, I think, because that's Coldsphere Pike.
So we both were in 1?
Mark, it depends on
Would have been.
which
he's
address
living
you're
in
looking at.
No, I'm
Is
talking about
Renwood.
Oh, so
where
yes.
I was
Okay.
living.
But
Because
before.
I don't know
other
where the
house,
Cold-
this side of
Coldsphere is.
Coldsphere Pike is
Yeah.
1, across the street's 2.
Yes, ma'am. Well, currently they're at large, so,
I would have been in 1. Well,
I
Wait,
think I would have been in 1.
You would have been in 1
Two,
also.
the last, yeah, the last time I ran. Yes, I'm.
We're done.
I'm moving from Wilson County, so,
they make me feel real loved. They're like, no, we're done, we're done, yeah.
well, I'm not, I'm gonna be done, but, I mean, it's been it's been a great experience, and I've enjoyed being on the board for however many years I've been on here. And, I hope, some other people step up to run for these positions.
Well, as our district grows and we're a larger city than we used to be. So, one of the claim to fame for Lebanon Special for Tennessee School Board Association is that we were the smallest school board in the state. So, most school boards, when we looked at it, had at least 5 members. So this is kind of in line with other school boards that serve even smaller districts than what we serve.
I mean, also like the cost to run too. Like, was it up to $1,000 if you didn't spend as much, you didn't have to report, but if you go over $1,000.
Yeah.
And so basically, if you think about it, at our large positions, we were running basically at an area larger than the mayor of Lebanon. So, I mean, that's for a position that doesn't pay anything, which I'm not saying it's not worth the service. That's a lot you're putting on any person. So to have these in zones puts it a little more manageable to the essence that you don't have to go out and get all of Lebanon and look at that, and you can just, and then also this is going to allow for those individuals in those locations with their schools in those areas, to represent those areas better. There was actually, like right now, the way it is with the primaries, honestly, in our areas, the election was over with the primary. So after that, there was really no chance for anybody else to get in because your primary was really your election. This is an opportunity for our areas that are represented demographically different. This is actually going to allow for them to be represented, and there could be other parties involved. Democrat, Republican, I don't care which one you are, but this is going to allow for those. So if we have an area that's more, Democratic or Republican or whatever, independent. I mean, you could actually have, those also individuals run as an independent also, which that jumps you right away from the primary if you run as an independent. So you don't have to, but you know that. But it's gonna create more representation in that essence. I don't, it's kind of like anything else. Is there ever a perfect time to do anything? No, there's not. But there's always a right time. And so hopefully with this transition, that's why we're wanting to make sure we get the word out. If you know of individuals, please, our emails are on here, phone numbers are accessible. They can always share those with individuals too. Our board is really very blessed in the essence, we're not as time consuming as maybe like a county or a city board. Because if you think about it, as a special school district, we don't have to worry about the taxation part of it. A lot of times you see in the county, they've got to go argue with county commission or whatever it is, you know, have to communicate. Where with us, we have the granted power to do that. So we're kind of at that advantage where that's kind of taken out of consideration. So there's a lot less on this board in that aspect in a special school district. If you look across the state, every district would love to be a special school district. We're very blessed, but they don't allow that anymore. So us to have that, we're very blessed to have that. So in doing that, it's kind of a different position than a regular school board member. It would be a county or a city. So there's a different time restraints. I'm not saying that this board probably won't expand and probably get more in depth the way it looks at things, maybe to take different roles, which most board members do, you know, maybe like one on the, I don't know, there's different roles that they'll play in different committees, which that will happen in the future. But I think this is just a good start and a good way to go. And please, if you have any questions or anything about that, let us know. We'd be happy to answer those questions.
It also allows us to have committees and representation on those committees by having more than 3 board members. So, and in the state of Tennessee, there's only 14 special school districts. So we're blessed to be one of those 14. And so that's a small number in a state that serves so many. So we're in a very unique position to be a special school district. So.
This would be on the primary and the general. But, okay, the agenda is in the primary, or the agenda average selection. So that's why.
It's, yeah, primary then, but depending on, yeah, depending on if you run independent, you don't have a primary, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the 112 fastest state road
Yeah.
in the world or the city or whatever the state, would that actually do extend? I mean, except for these people to
Well, I think one of the reasons I voted to expand it was because I felt like that we were growing and our board needed to grow as well. To have more voices on there when you're talking about things, I think is a good thing. I also think different perspectives are good. So that's one of the reasons why I voted for it. But I do agree with what Mr. Thacker said about it being such a large area. I mean, I was the last one to run, and I ran for the whole city, and it gets a lot. I know personally I knocked on 5,300 doors when I ran, and that's a lot for one person. I mean, that's a huge. And you're right, it's not like a huge mayor's campaign that covers that, or so. I think the zones make a lot more sense to help, and hopefully help recruit more people that want to run for this board position.
It also puts the district in a good position too, because previously when I was on the board the first time this is back when I was actually young, I had 2 board members that actually passed away while I was on the board. So right there you have a 50-50 where if you don't have 2 people, and this might not be us, it puts us in a very bad situation. And so if those 2 people don't agree, you're pretty much, and it happened. So it happened twice when I was on the board the first time. So luckily we were able to resolve and get things done and actually work together. But you know, it was. I feel like I'm hear the national anthem.
No,
singing.
I know. Yeah.
That's what I said. I feel like we should stand.
So, I guess. Any other questions? Anybody else?
I think so. That's covered it well.
Well, I know I'd be happy to answer any questions after the meeting or another time via email or call me. I'll be glad to answer if you've got questions about any specifics. Feel free to let me know. I'll be glad to. I look forward to having some people, new people to serve with, and however I can help with that transition, I'll be glad to. We've got 4 meetings to the board meeting, so you want us just to roll right into the board meeting after the national anthem?
Just want to close this, and
Yeah.
we could catch the tail end of that national anthem.
Yeah, that's what I feel. All right, any other questions, any other comments for the work session before we close this work session and open a board meeting? All right. I adjourn this work session.